My name is Kristie Chandler, and I am so excited that you are here on my page. I just want to take a couple minutes and introduce myself. I am a burnout elimination coach, and I help Christian women confidently love life again, or maybe for the first time, by eliminating the debilitating fears holding them captive. So if you are here, you probably saw something that I posted and you're curious to learn a little bit more about, well, who is this lady? Why does she think she can help me with the things that I'm struggling with? And seriously, like, what background does she even have? So I want to let you know that I understand what it's like to be somebody who constantly strives and gets burnout. I understand what it's like to wear the face of complete calm and success and overachievement on the outside, but I'm literally falling apart in my mind and in my body. Because as I was growing up, I've always been the highest achiever, perfectionistic, straight A. I was a three-sport athlete and band, show choir, theater. I did all the things, and I was very good at everything that I put my time, effort, and motivation to. Yet, unlike the people around me, every time that had to get ready for something that made me nervous, whether it was performance, a race, whatever it was, I had to go to the bathroom like 27 times. Like I could not get out of the toilet. My stomach always felt really sick and like it was in knots. Sometimes I found it kind of hard to breathe. And there were always thoughts going on in my head, especially the one that said, what if I'm not good enough? What if I fall over? What if I die? That was actually a continual thought that would run through my mind. And years upon years of this compounded until in my 20s, I was diagnosed as having Hashimoto's hypothyroidism, an autoimmune disease, which the root of all autoimmunity is inflammation, and the root of inflammation is stress. And so I didn't realize that all those years of the anxious thoughts, of the worries, of the striving, of the perfectionism, that those were causing inflammation and issues inside of my body that was leading to this state of autoimmunity. And when I was in my early 30s, I had been married for 7 years. I had worked as a teacher in South Carolina, got my master's degree, decided we're going to move to Ohio. And so we did all the things that you're supposed to do when you move, right? We're like, yeah, we're going to get a new car. We bought a new house. We're like, it's been 7 years. Let's get pregnant. So we did. And then 5 months after my daughter was born, my husband decided he didn't want to be a part of our family anymore. And right before Thanksgiving, he left. And so now there I was with that new job and that new house, with that new car and that new baby. And I was all alone. And all of those years of stress that had compounded into my life, they just absolutely broke me when I was undergoing the most stressful time that I have endured today. So 3 months after my husband left, I got really sick one night. I couldn't stop throwing up. And I went to the ER. They put me full of fluids and they said, you just have a stomach virus. You're going to be totally fine. Go home. Live life as normal. Except when I went home and I started eating again, life wasn't normal. Because I was in so much pain, all I could do was curl up in the fetal position and cry and beg and pray to God and ask him, please make it go away. I was struggling to take care of me. I was struggling to take care of my baby. I still had to show up for my full-time job. I remember walking into a school district. I was an educational consultant at the time, and the superintendent happened to walk in next to me that day, and he said, Kristie, you are obviously sick. Go home. And I just looked at him and I said, friend, I feel like this every single day. If I go home today, I might as well never come back. And it took months before I found a somewhat functional doctor kind of near me. And he tested me at that time for the 7 most common food allergens. And at that moment in time, my body was showing allergic reaction to eggs, milk, wheat, corn, and sugar. So now I also had to change everything about how I ate. I was handed a single sheet of paper, and on it they listed vegetables, meats, and like fats as if they were an afterthought. and said, here you go. This is what you eat. Go live and you will be better. So I took that single sheet of paper home, I set it down in front of me, and I didn't know what to do because I can't cook. I certainly didn't know, as somebody who had eaten macaroni and frozen pizza and hot dogs my entire life, I certainly didn't know how to cook this food and make it taste good and nourish my body. So within the course of 1 to 2 months, I went from about 118 pounds down to 100 pounds. My pants were literally falling off of me. The superintendent that saw me go in that day actually told the Board of Education, don't worry, Kristie's just going through some health crises, because I looked sick, just like I actually was. And I was also breastfeeding at the time. And I remember sitting in the closet of another school, and I probably went into that closet and pumped 6 times that day. And anybody who has ever breastfed for 8 months and pumped should know that you should have come home with gallons of milk. I bet I came home with that much in each bag. I was at my wit's end. I didn't know what to do. I was starving, and now I couldn't nourish my baby the way that I wanted to. So I went home that night and I got down on my knees on the kitchen floor and I put my hands up and I said, God, I can't do this anymore. I cannot live one more hour, much less one more day, one more week, one more month. I'm going to die. You've got to step in. I don't know what to do. I give everything to you. I lay it all down. I don't know what else to do. And I knew in that moment that I was in a deep, 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 dark pit. But I also knew that somewhere up above there was a pinprick of light. Sometimes I could see it and sometimes I couldn't. But I knew that that pinprick of light was my redemption story. And I promised God that day that when, important word, when, I walked in the full light of that redemption story, that I would dedicate myself to never allowing anyone else to go through what I was experiencing at that time. And that launched a journey. So over the next 8 years, my daughter's 8 as of the recording of this video, over the next 8 years, I became a functional therapy nutritionist. I studied mindset. I studied neuroscience. I studied the nervous system. And I became a certified praise instructor and took courses that taught me how the body works, how it heals. I read books on biblical healing. I immersed myself in courses and self-study. And I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I did a lot of things that I didn't realize were only like spitting at the big issue of the fire underneath of me. And maybe you've experienced this too. Maybe you've tried nutrition, you're like, it hasn't worked for me, or it hasn't worked as well as I wanted to. Maybe you've tried yoga. I did that for a while, and you've realized it's also not really putting a dent in like I thought it would. Maybe you've tried prayer. Oh, I prayed. I have journals upon journals upon journals in my prayer. But until somebody actually taught me how to step into the rest that God offers in Matthew 28, come to me, all ye who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you my rest. Give you? Have you ever noticed that word give? Until somebody actually taught me how to receive the gifts that God has offered, like his rest, it just wasn't touching it. But in those 8 years, God has brought me on an amazing journey. And so now I help Christian women confidently love life again because I'm able to teach them simple, practical strategies that eliminate their debilitating fears, because I have learned that we have to address this raging fire first, because this raging fire that is caused by fear, that actually has like this volcano with magma underneath that is feeding it. And when we dump little spits of water on it with nutrition and dump little spits of water on it with exercise, We're taking pieces of it and we're helping for a little bit, but it creeps back up again. Have you ever noticed that? Like you take supplements and all of a sudden you need more because we're not addressing the actual root. Because while fear is the root, there's actually a root of that too. And the root of all of this stress, all of this anxiety, all this inflammation, all of this burnout that we are experiencing and suffering from is actually an inaccurate perception of our identity as the bride of Christ, as the heir of the creator of the universe. And because of this inaccurate perception we have, we are not walking in our full power and authority as the one who is seated at the right of Jesus in the heavenly places after he descended into Sheol and defeated the foe that is working against us. And so I have learned that resetting into rest is where we have to start in order to live confident, fearless lives. And I have gone from somebody who in the worst times, I couldn't travel 40 minutes without feeling like I literally could not breathe. I had to fight for every single breath. And anytime I traveled, my entire life, it was wrought with anxiety. If you were driving me from South Carolina to Ohio, I would literally hide under a blanket because if I was watching everything else, I would make my drivers so nervous that they were freaking out. Or if you were my friend in the next seat on an airplane, yeah, you were my friend because I was going to make you my friend because I needed like a mommy who was going to care about me and care for me if I stopped breathing or I fainted or I passed out or I puked or I died. Those were the thoughts that would literally go through my head. But God has taught me how and brought such healing in. He has taught me how to receive his healing and to share it with others so that my anxiety is now totally eliminated. In fact, this year, I traveled to Greece, Cyprus, Turkey, and the Bahamas without a single panic attack. The entire world has been open to me. And I want to open the entire world to you because it is possible and you can get freedom. And the transformations that my clients have seen have been absolutely life-changing as well. We're talking about learning how to fall asleep quickly at night without any more racing thoughts and no more waking up in the middle of the night in panic or with all of the to-do list things still on their mind. We're talking no more knots in the stomach, no more run into the bathroom 27 times before that thing that makes you nervous. We're talking making bold, audacious kingdom decisions like, do I stay in my job? Do I move to a new one? Or do I quit and follow my passions quickly and confidently without any physical unease, without any second doubt decisions going on in our head, without any regrets? We're talking learning how to stay completely calm in social situations and actually going to be in social situations. So going to that party that your friend invited you to and enjoying it while you're there. Being able to travel, to go over bridges without fear, to go on vacation and enjoy it for the first time in life. Or even to nail that presentation at work because you walk in confident and you know how your body is going to react. So how do we do this? We retrain our brain for the truth of what God has actually put in us as our identity. So in Romans, I think it's 6:2, it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So we actually learn how to literally retrain our brain to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And beyond that, we teach our nervous system how to accept peace and rest as safe. Because those are the two keys. We have to know God, love God, and get closer to him. But in that, we have to do it in a way that resets our brain and teaches our nervous system how to accept peace. That is how you get to wake up every single morning excited, rejuvenated, and ready to go through your day, expecting God's favor and expecting good things to happen, rather than just waking up, drudging through the day, being totally unhappy about going out and doing what you have to. You change from have to get to. That is how you go through the day without dread and without brain fog. How you actually enjoy your time at work with your coworkers, even the challenging ones. How you enjoy time with your family, including your kids, even when they're being challenging. How you respond in patience and love instead of frustration and anger. How you get to go live a life and enjoy time with your friends, and you stop living in constant fear of disaster falling upon you, of dying falling upon you, and how your body is going to react in a totally embarrassing or what feels like a life-threatening way. And so, my friends, that is why I am here, because I know that that freedom exists. I have experienced myself. I've watched others experience through the coaching that I have been blessed and honored to provide them. And I want to help you do that too. So I would love just to hear a little bit more about yourself. Feel free to put something in the comments. Let me know that you watch this, introduce yourself, let me know a little about you. Or if you don't want the world to see that, I totally get it. Send me a DM. I would love for you to send me a DM and say, hey, Kristie, I saw your video, I heard your story, and I want to share mine because I want to get to know you. I can only help those that I know. So I'm excited to get to know you, to learn more about you, and to start a conversation with you. Go ahead and make that comment or send me a DM now, and let's enjoy our time together. And I will be praying for you as well. All right, my friend. God bless.